billion. State House of Assembly, you need about 500 M. To win governor, you need on the state. For that, you need about like 20. For rivers, you need about 25 billion. For some in the north, it's capital intensive. What corruption in our country right now. So every time somebody is in office, it is not education the person is thinking of. Except if whatever he wants to do in education will provide some money that they can leverage on when the time for election comes.
All right, so that's what brought us here. Now remember, the statement is or was to win, you need 25 billion for rivers. That means if I have 24 billion, I'm not winning. Well, Mr. Femi Obong-Daniels, who is the general manager for Cool, Wazobia, Info, Ariwa, and Kids FM, and also the host of the podcast where Alibaba appeared, which is Outside the Box, joins me via the phone. Thank you, Mr. Obong-Daniels, for making the time. How are you doing?
Doing great. Being with you.
All right, it's a pleasure. Now, I know that was a snippet of the episode, which I believe would be uploaded today, if I'm not mistaken, because I saw that on the Instagram.
Yes, certainly.
Okay.
Yes, it's probably just gone up now. It's on its way up or so.
Okay. All right. So the question that trailed what Alibaba said was, yes, we know that money is spent for Nigeria's politics, but when you give particular figures like that, people want to understand the breakdown of the money. He said Rivers 25 billion. Did he explain to you how this money was to be used? Is it to buy the ticket? Is it to pay for something? What exactly did he mean by that?
Well, much of that would be answered in the full episode of that podcast. He did go into specifics, some measure of specifics.
Okay.
Again, don't forget, he was just throwing a rough estimate.
Okay.
And about what it costs. And there are even individuals whom I've seen who are politicians themselves or who have run for office who have said, in some instances, it's higher. Others have said, it's well within the margin. And remember also, it's a collection. It's not like you have to go and sign a check for 25 billion for one particular person. It's just what you need to budget.
Yeah.
To successfully see the process through. So everything, it starts with the form. You pick your form. You think about delegates, stakeholders. You're thinking about primaries. You're thinking about your budget for campaigns. During the discussion, he talked about his own experience, how much it cost him when he ran for office. And it was crazy. Having to fly around here, there, and everywhere, how much he was spending on a weekly basis for travel alone. It was pretty mad. And then you also have to think about other interest groups. There are the youth, there are the elders, there are the women groups, there are the students groups, there are the labor groups, and all of that. There is media, there is publicity. It is expensive. Now, politics is expensive anywhere in the world. If you look at America, it's a very expensive enterprise, and they don't pretend. It usually comes down to who can raise more money. But at least they have some semblance of clarity where you have to be able to account for what was raised and how it was spent. Remember the last American elections, one of the things that rocked and bedeviled the former Vice President Kamala Harris campaign was that they raised tremendous money, figures that had never been raised before. And we're talking what, hundreds of millions or billions of dollars or whatever it was, and how the money was blown and it could not be accounted for, which was seen as an aberration. And in the final running, those conversations, those figures coming up, because again, in American politics, the numbers don't come out after elections. The numbers, the auditing is going on as you speak, so you know how much has been raised, how much. In 2 elections ago, the elections that brought in Donald Trump on that occasion, the conversation was to the effect that it was a bit of an aberration where the person who raised less won the presidency. So Hillary Clinton had totally outraised Donald Trump, and Donald Trump still won. In the election that followed, the one that he lost, that brought in Joe Biden, the Democrats had also been able to outsource funds on that, outperform them in terms of funds. And they took it to a whole nother level this time around with Kamala Harris. But in the end, it still was not enough. So you need to take it in. It's not an accusation.
Okay.
Some people might hear it and say, he's accusing people. It's not an accusation. He's looking at the figures. Now, whether those figures add up, plus or minus, is one thing. Some would say, you can do it for a little less than that. Others will say you actually need more. And I've seen both fields of conversation.
Okay.
Essentially, so that is what it is.
Yeah. So the reason, of course, like I told you earlier, why this conversation is happening on Nigerian Info Port Hackett is because we're out here minding our business, dealing with an emergency rule. And on a podcast in Lagos that you host, Alibaba is talking about what it takes to win a governorship election here. But my other concern is, why does Rivers, by his estimation, of course, cost 25 billion naira, and states in the north, like he said, cost cheaper, or even in some parts of the south? What do you need more money to win elections in Rivers for that will require less in another state?
To answer that question, you would have to take both conversations I've had with Alibaba. This conversation you are referring to is the follow-up to the earlier conversation.
Yeah, where
which was the long
the governor of the central bank.
1.5 hour conversation I had with him.
Yeah, I remember that
because
episode.
In that conversation, that other things were talked about, his private conversations with the former president. There were a whole lot of other things that came out of that conversation. This one was an hour less, I guess, than that previous conversation. And the focus was on education, the second conversation, and why we find ourselves where we are, why successive governments have done pretty much little for the educational sector. So everything that was said in this follow-up was said along those lines. So your question as to why it is that Rivers stands out, it is very simple. If you notice, he mentioned Delta and Rivers as being the most expensive. So he had said Delta about 20 million, Rivers
25.
It's not far-fetched. Why? Those two states, literally, the bank of the country. It's oil money. These are the oil states. Clearly, that was what he was referring to.
Yeah.
And if you notice, he didn't even mention Lagos in that equation because Lagos would also be closed. But because Lagos is a commercial hub, not necessarily an oil-producing state. So as to why it's expensive, it is. Your guess is as good as mine. I don't think I need to say much more than that. For the northern states, there was a question I asked him in the first interview, where I was asking him what he needed. When we're talking about what you need, the people you have to have on lockdown.
Yeah.
How the northern states fall in the equation, and again, I don't want to put words in Alibaba's mouth. So you can go there, go to the site of the podcast, which is Nick's. Just look for Nick's podcast online, or outside the box. Just Outside the Box podcast, you would see both podcasts there. And if you can go to that first one, you would understand that for the North, it's not so much about, it's not the money, it's a numbers game. So politics itself is a numbers game. For most other places, the numbers is in terms of money. In the North, the number is in terms of people, actual numbers, figures, human figures, and also in terms of influence, because you cannot discountenance the North in your political calculation as far as Nigeria is concerned. And the North, as far as we know, are not oil producing. Much of the revenue coming from the North is basically agriculture, which pales significantly when compared with the kind of figures that come from states like Rivers or Delta or maybe to some extent Akwa Ibom, these oil producing states. So I hope that explains it.
Yeah, it does. Well, we have about 4 minutes left on the clock. Let's talk about Outside the Box podcast. We've seen a few episodes here and there. Of course, snippets like this go viral that push us towards watching the entire episode. According to the caption on Instagram, I believe, the episode where Alibaba made that statement should be up right about now. What is host? I beg your pardon. Why do I keep saying host? What is Outside the Box podcast? Is that a Nigeria Info production? Is it an independent production? You're the host of it. What is it? And how exactly is it running? Yeah, that's...
So, let me just say that it stands on its own.
Okay.
But it emanates from Nigeria Info. But it stands on its own. Next, when people ask what is next, next essentially is Nigeria Info Extra.
Okay.
That's what next means. Because Nigeria Info is the home of conversations on radio.
Yeah.
And now, but we also understand that Outside the Box has to stand alone on itself. Most people associate me with Nigeria Info as much as School FM or Zobia FM, having the privilege to be there, to be at management level in the organization. But beyond that, especially for my Port Harcourt audience, because I don't know, but let's say 15 years ago, I was in Port Harcourt for a while, and I had amazing friends. 15 years later, out of the world now, and probably of the older generation. But 15 years ago, I was in Port Harcourt for half a year, or something of the sort, and we made history, and we made memories together. So yeah. Think about Nigeria Info as a home of conversation. Okay. Then think of Outside the Box, or NIC, the platform that houses Outside the Box, which originally means Nigeria Info Extra, as the home for conversations online. Okay. Where people that matter. And when I say people that matter, I'm not talking about celebrities only, politicians only, newsmakers only. Sometimes I'm just sitting down with the Joe, the Paul next door, and we're just talking about things that matter to us. It's not about the reputation of the person; it's about the quality of the conversation. Okay. So we just have a sit down and talk about things that matter to you and me. Sometimes it's political. I don't like political conversations. If you know me well enough, I like to run from them, but you cannot run from everything, right? I've even sat down to discuss religion, which is another topic I don't like to discuss.
All right, Mr. Obong-Daniels, we are literally down to seconds. Yes. How frequently are episodes uploaded? Very quickly.
Yes, certainly. It's uploaded. You can go to the YouTube platform now, which is Nick's podcast on YouTube.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. We'll be looking forward to watching that episode and, of course, getting more questions. Have yourself a wonderful day, sir.
Great. Yeah, great talking to you, sir.
All right. Well, after the break, you and I will get to talk. You heard it cost over 20 billion to be the governor of Rivers. Stay with us.
What is a conversation on radio without feedbacks from you, the listener? As your number one station for talk, we pride ourselves in not just having engaging conversations that will enlighten, inform, educate, and sometimes even entertain you. From social issues, politics, business, or the stories making the headlines, we make you the center of those conversations by getting your thoughts and opinions too. We would love to hear from you. Be a part of our conversations in Nigeria Info FM Port Harcourt and share your views via the following outlets. Call us live on 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003, and 0817-923-0007. Or drop a message for us at Nigeria Info PH on X and at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH on Facebook. Ensure to always be civil and keep your conversations in tandem with the ongoing discussion. Also try to be brief and straight to the point so other contributors and contributions can also be accommodated. Nigeria Info FM. Real people, real conversations. Let's talk. What is a conversation on radio without feedbacks from you, the listener? As your number one station for talk, we pride ourselves in not just having engaging conversations that will enlighten, inform, educate, and even entertain. From social issues, business, or the stories making the headlines, we make you the center of those conversations by getting your thoughts and opinions too. We would love to hear from you. Be a part of our conversations in Nigeria Info FM Port Harcourt and share your views via the following outlets. Call us live on 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003, and 0817-923-0007. Or drop a message for us at Nigeria Info PH on X and at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH on Facebook. Ensure to always be civil and keep your conversations in tandem with the ongoing discussion. Also try to be brief and straight to the point so other contributors and contributions can also be accommodated. Nigeria Info FM. Real people, real conversations. Let's talk. What is a conversation on radio without feedbacks from you, the listener? As your number one station for talk, we pride ourselves in not just having engaging conversations that will enlighten, inform, educate, and sometimes even entertain you. From social issues, politics, business, or the stories making the headlines, we make you the center of those conversations by getting your thoughts and opinions too. We would love to hear from you. Be a part of our conversations in Nigeria Info FM Port Harcourt and share your views via the following outlets. Call us live on 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003, and 0817-923-0007. Or drop a message for us at Nigeria Info PH on X and at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH on Facebook. Ensure to always be civil and keep your conversations in tandem with the ongoing discussion. Also try to be brief and straight to the point so other contributors and contributions can also be accommodated. Nigeria Info FM. Real people, real conversations. Let's talk. What is a conversation on radio without feedbacks from you, the listener? As your number one station for talk, we pride ourselves in not just having engaging conversations that will enlighten, inform, educate, and sometimes even entertain you. From social issues, politics, business, or the stories making the headlines, we make you the center of those conversations by getting your thoughts and opinions too. We would love to hear from you. Be a part of our conversations in Nigeria Info FM Port Harcourt and share your views via the following outlets. Call us live on 0817 923 0002, 0817 923 0003, and 0817 923 0007. Or drop a message for us at Nigeria Info PH on X and at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH on Facebook. Ensure to always be civil and keep your conversations in tandem with the ongoing discussion. Also try to be brief and straight to the point so other contributors and contributions can also be accommodated. Nigeria Info FM. Real people, real conversations. Let's talk. What is a conversation on radio without feedbacks from you, the listener? As your number one station for talk, we pride ourselves in not just having engaging conversations that will enlighten, inform, educate, and sometimes even entertain you. From social issues, politics, business, or the stories making the headlines, we make you the center of those conversations by getting your thoughts and opinions too. We would love to hear from you. Be a part of our conversations in Nigeria Info FM Port Harcourt and share your views via the following outlets. Call us live on 0817 923 0002, 0817 923 0003, and 0817 923 0007. Or drop a message for us at Nigeria Info PH on X and at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH on Facebook. Ensure to always be civil and keep your conversations in tandem with the ongoing discussion. Also try to be brief and straight to the point so other contributors and contributions can also be accommodated. Nigeria Info FM.
Bonibodo Road may be commissioned in November. Posthumous awards for Ogoni stirs calls for full exoneration of others. Lawyer says President Tinubu's action contradicts his denial of one-party agenda. Lawyer calls for urgent review of Nigeria's constitution. Police community leader confirmed viral video of Diobu shooting was from old incident. Cattle dealers seek grazing reserves, boreholes to curb farmer-herder clashes. Monarch calls for collaboration between police, community leaders to stop piracy in River State. Defense headquarters investigates arrest of Chinese miner in Northeast. Today is International Albinism Awareness Day, and on the foreign scene, black box found at Air India crash site as grieving families await answers. Details in the 6 p.m. bulletin. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. Thanks for listening. Still hard facts, 92.3 Nigeria Info. Sam Oracle Chinedu here. Running for elective office cost billions. anyone at all. Well, veteran comedian Ali Baba revealed price tags for each political seat in Nigeria. Ali Baba spoke while discussing the level of corruption in Nigeria's politics among the country's leaders on the Outside the Box podcast hosted by Femi Obong-Daniels. Ali Baba said the price tag for a senatorial seat is 1.2 billion naira, while that of governorship required up to 20 to 25 billion naira in some states. Earlier, I had conversations with Mr. Femi Obong-Daniels, who is the host of that podcast, asking that he gives a breakdown based on, his guest's explanation as to how that money was used. But the episode should be live now. It was supposed to be uploaded at 5 p.m., so I'm live on air. I can't quite tell. But you can always watch Outside the Box podcast. It's a Nigeria Info production. It's NIX, Nigeria Info Extra. So go look it up and you'll get context. But this is what Ali Baba said that, of course, led to this conversation.
To win a senatorial seat is now between 1.2 billion. 1 or 2 billion. You need that to win a Senate seat. To win a House of Reps, you need another 1 billion. State House of Assembly, you need about 500 M to win that. To win governorship, you need, depending on the state, for Delta, you need about like 20. For Rivers, you need about 25 billion. For some of those states in the north, maybe 4 or 5 or 6 billion. So it's a capital intensive project, which is what is driving the corruption in our country right now. So every time somebody is in office, it is not education the person is thinking of. Except if whatever he wants to do in education will provide some money that they can leverage on when the time for election comes.
All right. So politics is expensive. Elections are expensive. That's not a Nigerian thing. It's a global thing. However, the source of funding is what differs. In many other countries, including the America we like to admire, fundraising is a basic part of the process. It is completely normal. So we like candidate A, who belongs to party B, and we want to vote him in. The supporters of that candidate running on that party normally raise funds. People contribute to their political parties. People contribute to actually sponsor the candidature of someone they need. So a lot of times, even though it's expensive in other parts of the world, the people's monies are directly involved in it. In Nigeria, contributing money for your candidate is not a culture. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I remember when Fela Durotoye was running and some other people on their websites or the campaign, they were talking about monies that people were contributing to support them. I remember seeing that. But it's not a culture here. It's not something we are used to. We are used to the politician, who obviously is already a big man, funding the elections because he has money. So my question is, can Nigeria ever have honest leadership if politics is this expensive? If we are to believe Ali Baba's position, right, that it takes around 20 billion to win elections in Rivers, Delta, and some other parts, it takes 10 billion, 5, even if it's just 1 billion. I don't know any businessman, right, who is successfully making that kind of money. Yes, Dangote has billions, even in dollars. I don't think Dangote would want to put his money into funding an election. So most business people who make that kind of money are not exactly interested in becoming governor. Which means that for most people, they are funded. And where else can you get that kind of money in billions? Again, if we are to believe Ali Baba, it is from the same politics, which means that you have a bigger politician that is supporting your cause. Or you have a politician who has been around for a long time so he can generally fund it. For example, senators who are going back for re-election, governors who want to be re-elected, they're already in the system. And somebody who's coming in for the first time will have another person who has access to that kind of fund, which obviously is Treasury of State. That's why somebody can buy forms for everybody. I said, don't worry, we've bought forms. From where? if you are a senator, where did you get the money? Is it the constituency project money of your senatorial district? If you're a governor, where did you get the money? Was it covered in the budget? So these are the questions begging answers. But it's time for you to be a part of the conversation. 08179230002. 08179230003. Can Nigeria ever have honest leadership if politics is this expensive? Gift from Yenugua is on the phone. Hello, Gift. Good evening.
Good evening, Samora Kushimelu.
Good evening.
Thank you, my brother.
Go ahead.
I believe the Nigeria one, I don't think is even close to the one from America.
Okay.
I don't know how they do it there, but at times we hear fundraising and all the rest. But I believe, and I'm 100% sure, not even use it to compare what Alibaba is estimating here, 25 billion and 20 billion or 6 billion, whatever billion you want to mention, the one of America is more and far, far expensive. Even their house, the places that they are renting to do this campaign, presidential and governorship, you cannot use the one of Nigeria to even compare. So it is not about whether it is looted funds. It is not about whether it is business funds. People decided to say, okay, let me dip my hands in my business, sponsor somebody that I trust. Okay, Sam Oracle can represent us very well, so come. Or Sam Oracle on his own will decide to do exams in his own account. But the truth of the matter, in our own level here, it is so expensive. Imagine your student union would take what they want. And if you don't do those things for them, you will never see their support. And that vote will not come to you. And you are eager and you are serious with that very vote that you are looking for, so you go all out. Market women will come with their own. This is the reason why people like us, we are not happy with people who are traitors. After the sweat and everything, do you know that the money, the one we are talking about, what about in terms of lives that are lost during that period? And that person will turn around if you want to buy that finger that fits you. My brother, it will not be easy. Nobody will allow you to even, you will not go away with it.
Okay, thank you very much. Gift Clinton from Bori. Hello, Clinton.
Yes, Sam.
Good evening.
My brother Sam, I agree with what Ali Baba said. But
Okay.
I also say elections in Nigeria are far more expensive than estimated. But what I will not agree to is that this money, some of them are personal money. There are some businessmen that invest in elections. There's what called crowdfunding as well. Again, in a political party that have different candidates aspiring, the campaign team is set up for that party and funds are generated in the party. So I think that's one of the ways to subsidize, to alleviate the burden on some of these aspirants.
Yeah, but Clinton,
so, yes, it's expensive.
Sorry to interrupt you. Normally, funds are generated at the party, right? I agree. That's how it's supposed to be. But in Nigeria, you still hear that the party has not paid ground rent for their secretariat. You hear that the same party, that they are giving delegates money. Now, we are raising money in this party, but that party now, somebody is giving delegates money for the primary election inside that same party. So these funds that we are raising in the party, who is raising it? Where do we get it from? And what are we doing with it? No, it's not.
I agree with you. I agree with you that, but it's your election. You have to source for funds.
Okay.
Like you said, monies are given to delegates. Unfortunately, that's a system, the reality we find ourselves with in Nigeria. No, even the voters, when they come out to vote, they expect you to monetize their vote.
Yeah, true.
So you as a politician, you that want to achieve something, you get prepared. You prepare yourself. I'm yourself. Look at what happened in Osun State, Davido and the rest of them. What happened then? So I think that Alibaba is just giving a surface estimate. There's more to that. It's more expensive than the estimate he gave.
Okay.
Because as a candidate, you must be prepared to invest your money, to spend your money. And I agree that after assuming office, there is bound to be corruption. But there are some good elements, good politicians among them.
Okay, thank you, Clinton.
Thank you.
So that means a good poor man cannot be, well, let me not say poor man. A good man that doesn't have billions. Joseph from Element. Hello, Joseph.
Yes, Mr. Honorable, good afternoon.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening. Until such a time that they will have our senators enact a law giving room for independent candidates, I don't think that we have it right in when it comes to election. And two, some politicians from this region have made us to know that the politics is a business. They invest into it and expect return. That's why they could do anything in order to ensure that they get into office. One time a House of Rep member in Cross River State then had a rift with the sitting governor. And the former governor from this state also helped that man to win election. Do you know what happened? They bought SUV for all the plan heads. Imagine how much that cost. That senator is struggling to even empower, even constitute, even execute projects. He's still struggling to date because he incurs debt. I don't know whether he took loan. So until we redefine our politics in Nigeria, we may never have it right because they are just there for their own personal pocket.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joseph. Muriel, I'll be talking to you shortly. Sam, greetings. How can we have honest politicians after spending huge amounts of money to be in power? The more politicians spend huge amounts to be in power, the more they loot our money to recover their money. Imagine a political party selling nomination form for 30 million. What do you expect the person to do if he wins the governorship election? Thank you. That's from Thank God. Was it the last election? I can't remember which one. There was 100 million naira price tag for nomination form. One of the parties, I need to remember, but I know we talked about that. Miriam from Akrika. Hello.
Thank you, Sam. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, Sam. I think the amount may even be more if you ask an actual person that has experienced it. It may be more. And Sammy, I think it's politicians that made it so rigorous, so almost impossible. If you don't have a godfather, to support you, then you cannot go. And this is the factor that has discouraged intelligent and businessmen, that will come and change the system and change our lives. It has discouraged them because it's almost bad business. If you come, the risk factor is almost 100%. You may not even make it. You almost will not make it. Investing such huge money, it's like a wasteful venture, and it has encouraged godfatherism. And you cannot, if not a simple person, even a civil servant that wants that that you have leadership qualities, you can come up and try to do one or two. And if this system has discouraged, that's why they don't even want independent candidacy, because how can you, spend all this kind of money on your own? It's almost you almost won't dare. People will not.
And they lose election.
And you see that the system has made it so that people, politicians that have evil hearts are the ones that most times succeed. And when they get there, it's almost 100% that they will come again. Because now they don't even need to use money from their pockets. They just get money from the state, from wherever they are governing, and finance the system smoothly, even do more.
Okay.
And I think that's what Governor Tim is suffering. And I don't think the former governor will say he spends all this money from his pocket. It's almost impossible for him to say that he cannot.
All right. Thank you, Mariel. JJ calls from Rumigbo. Hello, JJ.
Sam, good evening.
Good evening.
Sam, I want to give you homework right now.
You go hard, oh.
At your leisure time, go and look for, on the 22nd January 2017, right? Premium Times. go and read it at your own convenience. And also add on the 12th of August 2019.
Hold on, JJ. Hold on.
Now,
Hold on. Say that first date again.
The first one is on the 22nd of January, 2017.
All right.
Where it says, despite raising over 27 billion, the PDP abandoned 16 billion secretariat, right?
Okay.
Now, the second one is talking about funding, stall, completion of PDP new secretariat. Can you beat that? Now, what's the story behind this? As at the time they were doing election in 2015, the PDP, before the election, the PDP did fundraising and raised 27 billion.
Okay.
INEC told them that the money you raised is too much for election. They now said they needed some money to complete their secretariat.
Okay.
Now, the irony of the whole thing is this. Despite raising 27 billion, the project they said they want to do for 16 billion, they didn't complete. If not that I'm using the same gadget right now, I would have told you to another area where it is said that our former president, Goodluck Jonathan, spent over 2.2 trillion on that same election. And at the end of the day, what happened?
Trillion.
The secretariat was not Yes. Don't worry. When I'm through now, I will find that headline and also send you so that I can join your read maybe over the weekend. So what I'm trying to tell you in essence is, if they did fundraising, where did they spend that money now that INEC is even saying is too much and the secretariat wasn't completed? So they spend a whole lot of money, and my brother, I don't think you even have the mind to want to delve into that water at the end of the day.
Okay.
So I think what Alibaba said, he even underestimated. He don't want to blow the number. Many people don't talk, say, I know now. But I tell you, it's even more than that.
All right, thank you very much, JJ. Knowledge from LMA.
Andrew, which is special?
It's Sam. Good evening.
Okay, Sam, good evening. Back to the recent topic, I won't say there are no, how will I put it, there are no sincere politicians or honest politicians. If I should say that, I'll be writing off Alex Oti off. To me, he's a good politician because what he has put on ground alone these 2 years has proven to me that he's a good politician. I would just say for every 100, it's just 10. 10. So we still need to work hard because the mentality of most of the politicians we have is do this thing, when you get there, you reap. But to have this mentality like Alex, do this thing, when you get there, you do more, and the people will honestly vote you. No matter how you rig the election, I'm telling you, I'm not from Abia State, I'm a Rivers boy. No matter how you want to do that election in Abia State, it will take thousands of politicians to pull Alex out from that office. As of yesterday, he was commissioning how many? 12 roads.
14.
That man is good. So
it was 14 roads, not 12.
I won't say they are not honestable, but it's just that the politicians we have today, they are self-centered politicians.
Okay.
That's what it is. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Knowledge. Oh my, true. True to his word, JJ has sent a link to our WhatsApp. How Jonathan and PDP spent 1 trillion on. My goodness. Okay, so I'm going to read this. 1 trillion. Ha. Oh, wow. Are you sure I would not get into this politics? I obviously don't have the money, but please, if you are looking for someone to sponsor, Oh, Sam, run for House of Rep. I'm here. I'm not using myself to do anything. Will I be loyal to you? What am I? I will be loyal. Is it not to give you everything? Please, let's know where, so that this is my future that they say is bright. Let it be true. So the way Sam is looking, he will not obey. He will not be loyal. Trust me, I will be loyal to you. Is it the people that put me there? Please, so that we know what we're doing. Let me see. Do I have... Oh, I'm literally out of time. Whew. Okay. Well, thank you for listening. That's all I can say. I don't even know how to wrap up the conversation because it is twisted. For everyone to say it's true, that's something.